Hello, hello, and welcome to today's video. I'm really excited that you are here and that you're tuning in. For those of you who are new to me, I am Tanya Lochner. I'm an intuitive business and success coach, and I love talking about all things vision, strategy, structure, and intuitive design, because I truly believe this is like my whole movement, my whole mission on this earth is to help people to really dive into who they truly are, their real authentic self, and to build and structure and run their business sustainably around that. So throwing out the rules about how business is supposed to be, the rules of marketing, how all of these things are meant to be, and really helping you to create that sustainable energy, that vitality, and really infusing your soul purpose into your business. I also talk a lot about business and personal life, even though I often tell my clients, do not throw in everything in the kitchen sink in there. Like, for example, when I went for marriage counseling with my husband about a year and a half ago, the guys thought I was like, I do marriage counseling, I do business coaching, I do life coaching. And I was just like, no, dude, we don't specialize in all of those things all at once. However, there's a definite blend and influence that your business has on your personal life and your personal life on your business. So we can't really separate those two out. And so finding empowerment, which is like a really big thing for me in both of those areas, will actually help uplift all of those. I also am an all or nothing person. So I often work with conscious coaches, visionary leaders, change makers. And for us, it's really about we want to achieve in all of these different areas in our life. We don't like having one area that's out of balance. And it is possible to have that, even though one area might be taking more priority than another area in your life at that time. So, for example, your work might be more priority during the day, your family life's more priority in the evening, and even different phases of life where it's a bit more of a focus on whatever thing, so whether it's right now, I'm in the thick of things. So I've got two small children, age 7 and 8, and I am an incredibly big animal person. I also live on a farm, which was a dream come true manifestation for me. So I do have a lot of things that pull my attention in terms of that. So how I've structured my business, how I run my business, I've actually done it around where I am in the phase of life that I'm in. I'm not going to now go and build my 7-figure empire at the moment because it's not sustainable for me at this point in time. I do like to have lots of freedom, lots of time off. And so today, I'd really like to talk to you about how do we bring our dreams into reality? How do we actually make those goals a reality? Because let's face it, January is just gone. We're all like in the swing of things. We've forgotten that there's been a whole holiday behind us. 22 has been a rough ride for a lot of us. And 2023 might have actually started off quite a bit different than what you expected, because this year is all around healing. So it is going that layer deeper. And it is a lot about our spiritual energy. So connecting more to our spirituality and our soul purpose that we are meant to bring into the world. And so if you are not living that, if you're not really truly bringing that out, that's when you start to feel that disconnect a bit more tangibly. And so you've obviously set your goals, and now it's like, how do we bring these things to life? Because there's lots of opportunities and possibilities and potential, right? And so what's the one thing holding you back? And I'm going to give this to you up front. I'm going to throw this whole idea on its head, and then I'll unpack it a little bit more in terms of the practical steps of what that looks like and how that actually works. So the big thing, the big secret to actually manifesting your goals into reality is to radically let go of the how of the outcome. So the work that we are meant to do, we are meant to really get clear on the what. What is it that you truly desire? Not what you think you are supposed to be desiring, not what you've been conditioned, because we all sit with a whole momentum of conditioning behind us. So not what am I supposed to be wanting in life, So I remember in my teens and early 20s, it was just to get married and have a family. That was like, I was supposed to do this. I did go and study because I really felt this calling towards a particular direction. And it took me quite a long time to fulfill that studies, because I didn't have, my parents couldn't afford to actually pay for all my studies. And I changed direction as well, which is a whole story for another day. That's okay, because we all have multiple purposes throughout our lives. We don't have just one purpose. So that's one thing you can sort of let go of if you were like looking for the one thing that you are meant to do in this world. You're not just meant to do one thing. And it's also not just about focusing on one thing at a time all the time. So there's different phases. And this is the whole thing I'd like to talk to you about, is that we're not sausage machines. So it's not this old adage of hard work equals success. The more hours I put in, the longer the machine runs, the more sausages are going to come out at the other end. It may work for a little while. So especially in the corporate environments, in sort of like structured job environments, it might work like that. The more hours you put in, the more energy you put in, you might for a while see more results. Eventually, the time's going to run out, the energy is going to run out, the motivation's going to run out, the relationships are going to suffer, and it's just not sustainable. And so what the secret to this whole thing is to realize and understand that it's not an absolute energy exchange. So it's not about how much you put in that's going to give you exactly how much you get out. So if we can let go of that, and I know it's a big thing, like I can just feel this like, what do you mean I don't have control over this? It's a fear of that loss of control, because if we feel like I don't have control over the results, then how am I ever going to make it in this life? And so here's the thing is always going to be this element that you don't have control over. So that would be what you call God or universe or source, whatever you believe in. I use the general term universe. And so there is a portion that's outside of our control. Other people, other circumstances, situations, things that are happening on either a global level or just in your community or even in your home. There are other parties that other players in this game. If you want to think of a chessboard game, there's other players involved. So you don't have full control. If you were the only player in this chess game, you could move your pieces wherever. You could have the game sorted and won, no problem. When we are playing with other players, there's always going to be an element outside of our control. And once we can really embrace that and understand that, that's when we can start trusting. And it's radical surrendering to this energy that's outside of our control. So what do we do in the meantime? We get clear on what it is that we truly, truly desire. So we set our goals, and not because someone else's goal is that. So like I said, like the phase of life that I'm in, I'm not going to be setting my goals for a 7-figure dollar empire business, because it's not sustainable for me where I am. I'm a single mom. I've got 2 little children. I've got multiple animals that I love spending time with and feeding. And, so it takes a lot of my time and energy. As much as I love it, it's quite intense on an energetic level. So I'm not going to commit to that type of business. And I already run multiple businesses. So to now go and say, well, I'm going to set these incredibly high expectations because someone else is doing it, it's just not in alignment with where I am. I'm going to burn myself out. I'm going to stress myself. I'm going to damage the relationships with my children, because something's got to give. Something's going to have to be sacrificed. It's not in alignment. So I set a realistic goal for where I want to be in each of these different areas in my life. So spending that time, obviously, getting clear about who you are, what's your purpose, what is it that you really want to achieve this year. And if that's a little bit tricky for you, it's okay, because you can start with what you don't want. So start with that, because it helps you launch those rockets of desire in terms of what it is that you do actually desire. So once you get clear on that, like, this is truly what I desire. So in business, this is what I'd like to do. Like, get clear about some of the like, I love playing this in the space of planning and analyzing and saying, okay, let's say my goal is $10,000 this month in income. Yes, I can go and plan it out to the T, like so many clients, so many hours, that amount per client. The reality is, when we start putting it in that structured box and it doesn't work out exactly that way, because part that's out of our control, then we feel like we're failing consistently. And then we start creating that energy around failing and not being good enough. And if you're a driver like me, that goalpost keeps moving. So even when you do achieve it, you still feel like, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet, I'm not there yet. So you're just chasing and chasing and chasing, rather than really leaning into, that's my goals. Let's set the income goal there, and then radically disconnect from the outcome. I don't really care how that comes in, whether it comes in it can come in via one big client, or it can come in via passive income. It can come in via miracle money. So I feel my local business is in the field of wills and estate planning, and so sometimes money comes from a person passing away. So that just happened. I have no control over that, and I also have no desire to force that situation. So it really is about radically disconnecting to the how. I don't care how that money comes in. That's my money goal for the month, and I've given a job to that money. So there's a reason why I've actually chosen that goal, not because the industry says I've got to hit 10K months, not because someone else has achieved it or put that out there. I've actually got an intention for that money. So I've got certain purposes for where that money is going to go. And maybe there's a little element that just because I can, it'll feel good for myself. I'm competing against myself rather than against other people. So I'd like to see if I can do that. The how, that's up to the universe. The way that's going to come in is an aligned way. What do we do in the meantime? We align with what's really lighting us up. So I still am going to analyze and do some of the masculine stuff in my business. I'm still going to get super clear about who I want to work with. I'm still going to be super clear about what I'm offering, how I'm offering. I still decide how much time I want to spend on whatever parts of my business, and how I'm going to, how do I choose to spend my energy? What is enjoyable for me? What do I feel like? Because here's the thing. Even when you get those dreams, those goals, they can sometimes start to feel like a lot of hard work when it becomes a have to. And I'll give you this example. I live on this beautiful farm. I have got 2 horses. I'm just counting now, 6 outside cats, 4 chickens, and 2 inside cats, and 4 bunnies and a guinea pig and 2 budgies. Okay, so I think I've got everyone now. So initially, when I moved here, it was like, oh, this is so lovely, just bring the animals. So I was just like gathering all of these animals, and it was really fun. It was a lot of hard work setting it all up because I didn't have a routine and a flow yet. So it was then here and then there. It took a lot of energy. Eventually, I started getting my flow and started like, okay, this is how now it becomes a lot more manageable. There was a time, though, when it became like, well, now I have to. I've taken on this responsibility and I have to get up to feed them at a certain time. I have to, in the evenings, put aside a certain amount of time, and then throw in some children in the mix who don't love working on other animals' routines because they also want to eat and bath and do all of those kind of nice things and even just spend time with me. So suddenly I've got to now have to, not because I want to. In the beginning, it's great. You want it. It's new animals. It's fluffy. It's cute. It's nice. And then it becomes have to. And then it becomes hard, right? So I had to shift my whole mindset around it. And this is just a couple of the things that I really love talking about is the power of our thoughts and our minds, empowerment, and then how to connect that to your vision and your strategy and structure your whole life around it, and specifically your business. So I had to shift my mindset around the have to feed these animals, because then it becomes a chore, it becomes incredibly energy draining. And then I started resenting this life that I had set up for myself. And it became words like, oh, I used it as distractions and it's hard work. And that started creating momentum, right? So the things that we think about all of the time starts to create this whole tail of momentum behind it. And so now I actually I shifted that around and said, I get to feed these animals. I get to have these animals in my life. And I started noticing the amazing things that they bring to my life. So without going on too much of a sidetrack here, for example, the outside cats. So I've taken on this there's a feral community. I've taken on some of these cats. They've self-selected who's coming to live with me, and they live outside. And they've now started connecting with me. So when I go up to the stables, the horses, certain ones of them will walk with me. It's almost like they're keeping me company, and they sort of especially when it's late evening, it's almost like they're protecting me. We're going to just be here and sort of check out the environment for you. So one of the things I'd like to say is, if we can get into that radical state of not really worrying about how it's going to happen, and we just enjoy ourselves in this space, still do the strategy, still do the structure, still do the planning, because that's what you enjoy doing, not because you have to. Of course, there's elements in our life, that adult pieces, that we don't have to. There's also days that I feel like, oh, I don't want to get up now and go feed animals. I want to rather sit and do something else, or whatever the case might be. And I'm very flexible around that. it's just really about allowing yourself to start enjoying the things that you've chosen to bring into your life, and then radically disconnecting from the how. And one of the analogies that I'd love to use is my horses. I've got these two beautiful, magnificent beings. One is he's a black Friesian, and the other one is a Bay Thoroughbred, and they are just gorgeous. They're amazing, amazing creatures. So they obviously want to manifest food every day. They want to be fed and they want to have shelter. They want to feel safe and secure. This is their main drivers that they're busy with every day. They don't care about the how. They don't care what I have to do to get the feed there, to make sure that they are safe, to be able to have them on this property. They don't care. They just enjoy their life. They don't feel like they have to work and be ridden a certain amount of time and perform and be in a certain way when they're around me so that they can get that food. They just go about their life. When I ask them to work, they work. When we just play with each other and we just hang out, we just hang out. But they do expect at a certain time of day, they expect that their food will show up. They trust that it's going to be there. It's so interesting. We've got quite a big paddock up there, and then they'll just at the right time start hanging out, like sort of moving down to the stable side, because they know it's almost food time, and they just expect it to show up. They don't worry and doubt and think the whole day like, when's the food coming? Is it going to come? No, they keep themselves busy with something else. So and that's, if we can learn to be in that state of being, because our thoughts are what keeps us stuck in this pattern. And this is a big thing I want to talk to you about, is patterns. We've got these underlying patterns running that we don't even realize is running our life and creating the stuff that we are bringing into our lives. And it's one of the things that I work with my clients. It's one of my gifts after I've worked with my clients for quite a bit of time, to start unearthing those undercurrents of patterns that's really, really running our lives. And I always like to use the analogy of, when we want to manifest something, there's always a deeper pattern or current keeping you safe that you don't even realize. It might be uncomfortable at the surface, but at the bottom, there's a deeper need for that. And I'll use a very simple analogy. Like, let's say I want to lose weight. So my surface goal is wonderful. I want to feel good. I want to look sexy. I want to feel comfortable in my clothes. But underneath, there might be a really strong belief around what it means to be thin and sexy and look like that. And I'll share a little bit about this. So when I was younger, a little girl, I was molested. So there was somewhere a belief that came in, because I was a really pretty little girl, and people would make a lot of comments. I remember the town I grew up in, it was a very safe town, so we used to walk in the streets a lot, and guys would, like older men, would drive past and make comments about how pretty I am. And then when that situation happened, there was clearly a belief that came in that when I'm pretty, when I look beautiful, that I'm going to attract the wrong, ugly type of attention. And so now as an adult, no matter how much I work on my surface goal of losing weight, I mean, I can eat and exercise and do all of those things. If there's a deeper belief that it's safer to be overweight, there's no ways this thing is going to shift unless I address that underneath pattern. And I'll give you some examples of patterns that I've uncovered in my clients. One of my clients had this pattern of, she would enroll with high-end coaches and usually group programs. And she's incredibly intelligent, incredibly bright, and very intuitive. So she would catch on to the concepts very quickly. And she would just gobble up all the information, know exactly what to do. And then in a very short period of time, she would start getting really bored and irritated with the group, because she had moved along so quickly. And then she would start over-analyzing this coach. And she'd be like, oh, I don't get results, the coach doesn't get me, and she'd start nitpicking at things, until eventually I picked up this pattern with her, and I was like, do you realize every time that you're ready to move on, that you've actually developed and gotten to your saturation point with that coach, that you start nitpicking on the coach, and then you start blaming her for the results? And it was like this big aha moment for her. Another one of my clients used to have this pattern where she actually has a pretty successful business, but she was constantly in this, like, what can I do better? Redoing the website, redoing the messaging. I'm just never feeling like she's getting the momentum where she wants to be, where they're in reality, which I eventually then started figuring out, it was a mindset thing. It was her actually just accepting that she's already at a successful level, and she's already doing the right things, and just allowing herself, because she felt like she had to chase business. She had to convince people. She had to trick them onto sales calls so that she could convince them to buy her program, and everybody was the right fit. Yes. It's important to do that ideal client work. We do check in with who our real ideal clients are, and that's the people we want to attract, not by forcing them into a situation, by really aligning with that energy yourself, and they will automatically resonate. And yes, we look at the structured part of like, how are you bringing your messaging across? Is it clear what you do, how you do it? Those things are important. So it is a combination. What I'd like you to understand is that it's not, or take away from this conversation today, is that it's really not about the direct results. You know, I used to, when I would receive a gift, it would automatically create this debt, this feeling of debt, of I've got to now return a similar type of gift or something even better for me to be worthy of this gift that this person has given me. And this is, the world doesn't work in that absolute energy exchange. So it doesn't mean because, you know, I'm giving out something, you've got to give me an exact amount of money back, and vice versa. So it's not about how much energy you're putting into a situation to say, no, I've got to get a specific result out, you know, because that can also help make us feel frustrated, because we have now like put in X amount of energy. Why didn't I get the result back? Well, maybe that wasn't the result that you were supposed to get, and maybe not in that particular way. And that's why if we can radically let go of the how it comes into our life and be more open, just literally open the doors, open the energy field, open your heart, open yourself to receive those things that you truly desire in the way that it's meant to come about. If you keep forcing it in the way that you would like it to happen, you are gonna run into some major resistance, and you're gonna feel disappointed and feel frustrated along the way and get bitter about all of these things, you know. So give yourself that just open the doors of possibilities, be clear about the what, align your energy, make sure that you are doing what really lights you up, so that energy is generated within yourself. It shines out into the world and starts attracting those potentials and opportunities. Life will bring those opportunities on your way. And like, you could be right now be going through this really big dip, and like, I don't see any way out. You just take one step at a time, and you just focus on the next thing. You just be clear on what it is that you'd like, because we create mixed energy, almost like dirty energy, when we go like, I really want this, but now I've got to look at like other possibilities. And then, you know, you just mix up the energy. Be clear about what it is that you truly desire. And then you leave the how. And if it doesn't work out that way, then you look at the next step. What's the next step? How do we realign that? All right, so that's it from me today. I hope this has been helpful in just bringing about a little bit of perspective, how you can bring your goals into reality without having to do the hard work to get there. I've also included below this video a link to a cycle tracker, because especially as women, we are not, like I said, sausage machines. We go through different cycles, and there's actually 4 states of being, which I'll talk about in a different video. Sometimes we're meant to be in sales mode, sometimes we're meant to be in rest mode. And actually, there's actually a way to map this out, to know how it works for you personally, and also to leverage the emotional ways, because our emotions play a massive role in how we make decisions, in how we run our lives, and how we run our businesses, and how we connect with ourselves and with others. So there's a cycle tracker below that you can, it's a free download. It will get you onto my email list, where I share more tips and tools around how to do this. I share any special promotions as they come up. And if you would like to work with me privately, where we can look into some of these patterns that's happening for you, and plan it out and really structure it around your vision and your strategy that you are meant to uniquely follow, then you can also find more info about that below. I really appreciated and enjoyed having this chat with you, and look forward to our next one. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.